monsties. In the meticulously calibrated star-making machine of the K-pop industry, a phenomenon emerged, not from a marketing strategy meeting, but from the organic chaos of the digital space. An anomaly. Consider this. A hashtag. Hashtag Ahyeon. Not the name of a group, not the title of a song, but simply the name of one member. An individual who officially had not even debuted. Today, that hashtag has surpassed 14.5 billion views on TikTok. That is not merely a number. It is a reverberation that calls into question every convention about how a star is born in this generation. She garnered her first 100 million views in just 9 days, a velocity that left media analysts speechless. And as of now, it remains the most viewed hashtag for any fifth-generation idol on the platform. The question is no longer whether Ahyeon is popular. The question is, why can a single name before a single official song is released generate a cultural wave of this magnitude? And what does it mean for the future of BabyMonster, YG Entertainment, and the entire K-pop ecosystem watching it unfold? Ahyeon, the main vocalist and center of the anticipated group BabyMonster, has created a digital paradox. Before an album, before television promotions, even before a full-fledged presence in the industry, her name has become an unstoppable force on TikTok, the platform that serves as the pulse of global pop culture. This phenomenon is not a fluke or the result of an overnight viral campaign. It is the culmination of a carefully constructed narrative, a blend of deliberate mystery, undeniable talent, and a fandom that decided to crown a star long before her entertainment company officially did. To comprehend the scale of this seismic event, one must first understand the terrain. YG Entertainment, the home of BabyMonster, has built its empire over more than a decade on a clear formula. Groups with strong characters, uncompromising production quality, and a pre-debut period full of mystery that culminates in a spectacular reveal. Look at Big Bang, 2NE1, Blackpink. They're not just artists, they're institutions. The YG brand is stamped with an aura of exclusivity and artistry. Then, BabyMonster was born. Anointed as the successors to the Blackpink legacy, the pressure on these 7 members from day one was immeasurable. However, there was one element in the BabyMonster narrative that differed from its predecessors: a prolonged waiting period and a painful absence. Everything seemed to be going according to plan. They released the documentary series Last Evaluation, showcasing the raw talent and charm of each member. The public began to recognize them. Yet that perfect wave cracked when, just before their debut in March 2023, YG announced shocking news. Ahyeon, widely regarded as the group's center and lead vocalist, would not be debuting due to health reasons. The statement was brief, formal, and left a massive void. This was the moment the official narrative collided with the digital will. Without Ahyeon, BabyMonster debuted as a 6-member group. The response was warm, but not incendiary. The group was successful, yet there was a sensation that a peak potential remained unfulfilled. Meanwhile, in another world, on TikTok and social media platforms, something else began to happen. Fans, calling themselves BabyMonster and Ahyeon's fans, or other variations, refused to forget her. They did not dismiss her. They manufactured her presence. They excavated every frame of her trainee-era performances, every vocal note from Last Evaluation, every smile and gaze, and assembled them into a digital cathedral dedicated to her. A short clip of her singing Mariah Carey's Emotions became irrefutable proof of her vocal prowess. Fan cams from her pre-debut appearances were analyzed like a code.
every piece of old content was given new life with the hashtag Ahyeon. This was not a campaign orchestrated by YG. It was a grassroots movement born from love, curiosity, and perhaps a subtle protest against her absence. They ensured that even though Ahyeon was physically gone, her shadow only grew larger, permeating every discussion about BabyMonster. And here lies the first twist. Typically, the absence of an idol can lead to a decline in their popularity. For Ahyeon, the opposite occurred. The vacuum she left became a canvas for public imagination. She was no longer just a talented trainee, she became a legend, an unfulfilled promise, a mystery to be solved. With each passing day without official news, the myth of Ahyeon grew and her hashtag continued to skyrocket. Months passed. Speculation ran rampant. Would Ahyeon return? Was her health restored? Or was this the end of her career before it began? Then, in May 2024, YG Entertainment issued a statement that shook the foundations of the narrative that had been built. Ahyeon would be rejoining BabyMonster. The statement once again maintained its privacy. Her health has improved, it read in essence, but the impact was immediately felt like a detonation. The K-pop world was stunned. Ahyeon is back, flooded social media timelines. Yet behind the cheers of joy, there were deeper, more complex questions. What truly happened during her absence? Was her return as seamless as announced? This is the core of our investigation. Ahyeon's return was not merely a welcome back. It was a reckoning for the entire BabyMonster ecosystem and even for YG's power. First, the impact on the group. A center of gravity restored. With Ahyeon's return, BabyMonster practically regained their center. But this was no ordinary center. This was a center constructed by the public, one who had been through the fire of absence and emerged with a stronger aura. An industry analyst, Kang Min-ji, stated in an exclusive interview for this report, "The Ahyeon who has returned is no longer just a member of BabyMonster. She is a brand in her own right. She brings with her 14.5 billion views and immeasurable expectations. This is both a blessing and a curse for her group. They now have an incredible magnet for attention, but all eyes will be on her, potentially creating new internal dynamics." Second, the impact on the agency, a force beyond control. YG Entertainment, a company renowned for its tight control of the narratives of its artists, now faced a force it did not
fully control. Ahyeon's organic popularity. Their traditional marketing campaigns were outpaced by a movement born on TikTok. A source within the industry, speaking on condition of anonymity, shared their perspective. YG planned BabyMonster very carefully, but the Ahyeon phenomenon forced them to adapt. They had to accommodate a star made by the fans, and that is a position they have not been in before. Ahyeon's return may not have been solely a health decision, but also an acknowledgement of a market force that could no longer be ignored. Third, the impact on the industry, changing the debut mindset. The Ahyeon phenomenon has become a case study for the entire K-pop industry. It proves that in the digital age, an idol's debut can begin long before a company officially announces it. A trainee's power can be measured and validated directly by the public through tangible metrics. Other agencies may now consider creating gaps in their pre-debut narratives, allowing room for the public to discover and adopt a star, as the emotional pull generated turns out to be far more powerful than one-way marketing campaigns. With Ahyeon's return, reactions were divided, revealing the complexity behind a homecoming. From her dedicated fans, it was a victory, a validation of their loyalty and belief. Comment sections were filled with tears of joy and statements of, "We knew you would return." They saw this as the happy ending to a long struggle. From a segment of the established six-member BabyMonster fanbase, there were dissenting, albeit quieter, voices. Some fans who had supported the six-member formation expressed concern. Would the chemistry that had been built be disrupted? Would the other members be sidelined by the spotlight now fully focused on Ahyeon? A comment on a fan forum read, "I'm glad she's healthy, but I'm worried for the others. The group's dynamic is solid, and this feels like starting over." From artists and the industry, many idols quietly liked posts about Ahyeon's return, a rare show of solidarity. A music producer in an informal conversation remarked, "She is like a plot twist in a drama series. Everyone is talking about her. That is an invaluable asset." So, Ahyeon has returned. The cheers have subsided. The cameras have captured her emotional reunion. But now we enter the most critical chapter, the aftermath. What happens when a digital legend must walk in the real world? Ahyeon's return is not a finish line. It is a new starting line with a far heavier burden. The pressure she now faces is almost inhuman. First, there is the pressure to meet the expectations of 14.5 billion views. Every future performance, every note she sings will be compared to the myth created during her absence. Is her vocal still as flawless as in the Emotions clip? Is her charisma as sharp as in the pre-debut fan cams? Those 14.5 billion views are a monument, and she must live in its shadow. The smallest perceived failure will be magnified disproportionately. Second, there are the altered group dynamics. How does she reintegrate into a group that has been functioning for over a year without her? The bonds between the six other members have been forged through their own tours, promotions, and shared experiences. Ahyeon is now a new old member. She must rebuild chemistry, not just on stage, but behind the scenes. Can authentic friendships form under such intense pressure and scrutiny? Or will there be an unspoken distance? Third, YG's changed strategy. YG now holds a nuclear asset. How will they deploy it? Will they position Ahyeon as the absolute center of BabyMonster, fulfilling market demand, and risk creating imbalance within the group? Or will they strive to balance the spotlight, potentially disappointing the millions of new fans who came specifically for Ahyeon? Their business decisions, from line distributions in songs, center positions in choreography, to media exposure, will be scrutinized meticulously and weighed with extreme care. Reactions have now evolved from jubilation to intense observation. International media, from Billboard to NME, have begun writing about this phenomenon not as routine K-pop news, but as a case study on the power of fandom and digital culture. Ahyeon has become more than an idol. She is a symbol. A pop culture psychologist, Dr. Lee Soo-jin, offered her analysis. Ahyeon represents the phoenix archetype, rising from the ashes of absence. This narrative is powerfully emotional. The public is not just supporting her talent, they are emotionally invested in her struggle and her triumph. That is a bond far deeper than simply liking a good-looking singer. So, where does that leave us now? At the peak of 14.5 billion views, with a young woman standing in the eye of a storm she did not entirely create, yet cannot avoid. The story of Ahyeon and BabyMonster has rewritten the rules. It proves that in the digital age, an idol's debut can begin long before a company officially announces it. YG Entertainment may have built the stage, but it was the public that turned on the spotlight. However, one overarching question still hangs unanswered and will determine everything. Is Ahyeon the human being capable of bearing the weight of Ahyeon, the digital legend? Can a 19-year-old artist fulfill the promise of 14.5 billion dreams projected onto her?
The answer is not written in any press release. The answer will be written on every stage she steps on, in every song she sings, and in the heartbeat of the fans who waited for her. This is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end. It is perhaps the end of the beginning. And we are all witnesses to an unprecedented sociocultural experiment. The journey of BabyMonster and the journey of Ahyeon has only just begun. And we all, with bated breath, await the next chapter. This story is still very, very far from over.